So let's dive deep into 5S today. So my question to you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 9 or 10 being a good knowledge on 5S, and 1, 2, or 3 being a beginner in 5S knowledge or no knowledge on 5S, or 4, 5, and 6, if you know somewhat, please let me know what level are you in. So there are people at 9 level, look at that. There are people at 10 level, very good level of 5S knowledge. There are people at 0 level of 5S knowledge. Okay, it's interesting, right? Great. So we have people across from various types of knowledge. So I will go slowly and steadily in this knowledge. Okay. The first, let us see where 5S fits into the entire business philosophy. Okay. Now, if you see here, every organization wants to achieve growth, profit, and sustenance. Okay. All of you type GPS in the chat box. Okay. Right. Now, in order to achieve growth, profit, and sustenance, you need customer satisfaction. What does the customer want? The customer wants the right product, best quality, affordable cost, and timely delivery. Okay, PQCD, product quality, cost. Product means product or service. All of you type PQCD in the chat box. So with the right products, best in class quality, affordable cost, and timely delivery, you can achieve growth, profit, and sustainability. Okay. Now, how do you create world-class product? How do you create world-class quality? How do you create affordable cost? And how do you create timely delivery? Whether you bake bread in the kitchen or make machine in the shop floor, everything is a process. By having world-class process or world-class standard. So I want to introduce you to standard, structures, and reviews. Okay, all of you type SSR in the chat box. By standard, I mean the best process or systems. Okay, by structure, I mean team with roles and responsibilities. By review, I means to review the standard and review the team. Okay, good. And how do you create world-class standard? And how do you create world-class teams? Okay, now if you review, you will find out the gap and teach them the tool set, skill set, and mindset. All of you type TSM in the chat box. Tool set, skill set, and mindset. Okay. Okay. Now, with tool set, skill set, and mindset, you can create world-class standard systems and review mechanisms, which will result in world-class product or service, best-in-class quality, affordable cost, and timely delivery. And then you can achieve growth, profit, and sustainability and emerge as a winner. Okay. So far, if you found it interesting, valuable, useful, fantastic, superb, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Or if it is awesome, you can type awesome in the chat box, whatever it is. Let us go a little bit deeper into this stuff. Okay, because I want to show you where 5S fits in the whole framework instead of just jumping into the 5S. Okay. Great. Now, we have seen the GPS here. I'm going to explain to you the two common approaches, which is top-down approach and bottoms-up approach. We said GPS, growth, profit, and sustainability. This is called voice of business. All of you type VOB in the chat box. If the voice of business is growth, that means the growth is good, profitability is good, and you have a sustainable business. Right. So, as we said, this is from customer satisfaction, and this we call voice of customer. And voice of customer is good if you give them right product, best in class quality, affordable cost, and timely delivery. All of you type VOC in the chat box just to understand voice of customer. Great. Okay. Now, how do you have the voice of the customer? As I told you, SSR. Okay. If you have the world-class standard, review mechanisms, and structure, you will have. So we can call it as voice of process. All of you type VOP in the chat box, because voice of process will lead to voice of customer, which will lead to voice of business. Great. So, as I said, this is possible with total employee involvement, with toolset, skill set, and mindset, where we teach them, and then voice of employees will lead to voice of process, voice of customer, and voice of business. All of you type VOE in the chat box. You can also put voice of stakeholders, okay? VOS in the chat box. That's okay. Anything else? Now, please understand, in order for total employee involvement to give them the tool set, skills, and mindset, we need a building block of excellence. And 5S, visual factory, red tagging, Kaizen thinking, war on waste, and so many other things are the building blocks of excellence. And 5S is what we are going to dive deep in the session today. Okay? So all of you type 5S in the chat box. And that's a tool set we are going to learn. And inside 5S, we will teach the tool set, we'll teach the skill set, and we'll also see what mindset is required to sustain 5S. Now, what do we call by bottoms-up approach? Bottoms-up approach means it's a proactive approach, immunity-building approach, Kaizen, just-in-time, lean, all that follows a bottoms-up approach. In any sports, you say, prepare the pitch before you play. Prepare. In a good pitch, you can play very well. How many of you agree? Just type super agree in the chat box. In a good pitch, you can prepare well. In a good football ground, it will be interesting to play. Similarly, if your workplace is organized, whether it is office, whether it is your computer is your workplace, means the file folders, everything should be organized. Unwanted things should not be there. And whether it is a factory, if your workplace, if your pitch is organized well, then you will find interest. First, you will get interested in playing, and you can play. The chances that you will play well is much higher. The second thing is fitness before you fight. You have to be. Today, we call that fitness through 5S. What do you mean by fitness? There is an old Chinese proverb which says, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but teach him fishing, you will feed him for a lifetime. How many of you like it? Give it a thumbs up. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, you teach him fishing, you feed him for the lifetime. And similarly, what I call as fitness is, people must be able to identify the problem and solve the problem by themselves. Only then they are fit. The problem solving methodology. And in order to identify the problem themselves at a nascent stage. What do I mean by nascent stage? When the symptoms of the problem arises, you should be able to identify, because symptoms are actually problems at its nascent stage. Symptoms are actually problems at the nascent stage. It manifests into the problem. Okay, I mean by fitness before. So that is why Kaizen methodology, giving them the tool sets to ensure that continuously you detect problems, detect the symptoms, and teach them the methodologies to solve the problems themselves. That's what I mean by fitness. Of course, there is also another approach, which is a top-down approach, which is generally a reaction-based proactive approach, where the DMAC methodology, where we say, hey, there is a problem, the problem has already happened. Okay, and I'll define the problem, I'll measure the problem, I'll analyze the problem, I'll improve, bring in improvement, and then I'll control, and then you go through the top-down approach. So this is the radar approach, this is the rescue approach. Radar approach is detecting the problem at a symptom stage and then trying to prevent the problem. Rescue approach is having identified the problem, go through the solving route and solve. Okay, if you found so far interesting, valuable, useful, fantastic, awesome, please put in the chat box. Let's dive deeper. Wow, I'm going to reveal to you a little bit deeper in this, okay? To see where you have fit in 5S. Whenever we implement the complete Lean Six Sigma methodology in a company, we implement in waves, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, step by step, okay? Let me show you quickly. Okay. Wave 1 is an exploration wave where we teach about 5S, VCS, red tagging. Okay. We conduct workshop and stuff like that. Then war on waste. Then we build the foundation like Kaizen in wave 2. Then we create standard works and lean metrics. Then we go to wave 3, which is deeper thinking, deeper tools like value stream mapping, inventory controls, total productive maintenance. And then we go to integration, reinforcement, skill flexibility, problem solving, Gemba circles, enterprise value. How many of you are excited to learn all this? Type ETL in the chat box if you're excited to learn. If you're not excited to learn, this is not for you. And you know what we are touching? Out of all this, I'm going to cover the small portion at wave 1, which is at the bottom, 5S visual control system and red tagging. Okay, great. So if you're excited to learn, stay till the end. I'll share this presentation with you. And also, join this upcoming webinar so that you become a part of our inner circle and learn deeper. Okay. Normally, when it is implemented in companies, it will take 0 to 6 months, 3 to 9 months, 6 to 24 months, 24 to 36 months, and ongoing. So this is how the time duration for each of these waves. And the benefits is initially you get stability, then you have small improvements called point kaizens, then you will have process improvements called project kaizens through projects, and then even at a strategic level, you do some breakthrough level improvements. That's called strategic kaizens. Okay. Great. If you found this slide mind-blowing, type B in the chat box if it is mind-blowing. Right? You found it mind-blowing because it's such an exhaustive content and depth that you'll be learning through all these sessions. Okay, great. So please join this upcoming session so that we will dive deep into learning. Now, there's something called as a building blocks of excellence. See, everybody will just jump into 5S by saying what is 1S, 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S. I don't want to take 5S like that. It's a totally different approach that I want to take. I want to give a very high level view on growth, profit, sustenance, PQCD, SSR, and TSM, what I've taught now. And then I want to explain you the two approaches. And then what are the building blocks of excellence that I showed you. And then I'm now seeing the model of excellence. See, any company, and I'll tell you where 5S comes here. Any company has values and ethics. They have a vision and mission. And annually, they come with a strategy. Okay. And then you have various pillars like safety pillar, safety as a foundation. You have world-class workplace as a pillar. Typical factory equipment effectiveness as pillar, quality assurance, and these pillars like inventory management. And then if you strengthen all these pillars like world-class workplace, equipment effectiveness, you have world-class quality, inventory management. If you do improvements across all these things, you will have world-class product quality, cost, and delivery, and which will give you a business excellence, which is growth, profit, and stability. Okay, so you see the world-class workplace here. This is one of the pillars of the creating a world-class organization, which is the main pillar. And then continuous improvement and learning and development across these pillars. Continuous improvement and learning and development across these pillars. So what is more important is the strategic planning, and this is called strategic planning. This is called operational excellence. So if you like the slide, give me on a scale of 1 to 10, please give me a 9 or 10 if this slide is superb. Okay. Okay. Now listen to me carefully. Every pillar or every component has got different areas. Okay. Like for example, learning and development, continuous improvement. If it is safety assurance, learning and development, assessment and review, and continuous improvement is required across all pillars. So learning and development, I mean, when you typically do a consulting or coaching, these are the things, 3 components that you will have. Learning and development. You should have a training intervention and then assessment review. After training, when they do the implementation, you have to do the assessment and review whether they have done as per what you have trained. and then continuous improvement. Then you should take them to the next level. If this is clear, type SC, super clear in the chat box. The same thing I'm going to explain for 5S, and that's why I'm sharing this. Okay, good, fantastic. Now, if you see the world-class workplace, which is 5S, in 5S also, we will have learning and development, we will have assessment and review, and we will have continuous improvement. For example, in learning and development, we'll be doing what is called Blitz Kaizen workshops, 5S, visual control management, and all that. I'll go deeper in the inner circle, okay? And then we do the assessment and review on daily audits, focused audits, monthly audits on 5S, and we'll do continuous improvement on how to create zero spillage, zero leakage, and absolutely clean factory, etc., etc. Okay, now let us go deeper into 5S. So this is, I'm referring a book. You can make a note of this book by Mr. Hiroyuki Hirano. Okay, this is page 62 of that book. When you come to the inner circle, I'll be sharing a copy of this book also. So he talks about in his book, one of the earliest books on 5S, which talks about organization, orderliness, cleanliness, and standardized cleanup. Okay, if you see here, organization, orderliness, discipline, cleanliness, and standardized cleanliness. So this is the initial format of 5S. But if you see the Gim Kaisen work by Mr. Masaki Imai in page number 18, he talks about the 5 steps. All of you write down in your notebook. Sort, straighten, shine, systematize, and standardize. Okay, this is the English version. In the Japanese version, it's called Seiri, Seiton, Seiso, Seigetsu, and Shitsuke. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you. The reason that I'm sharing these two books is in different books, these are explained in different ways, but let us agree on some terminology as English words and proceed. Let's calibrate ourselves and proceed. Okay, now this is what I want to give it to you if you really want to write, and we will calibrate on this English words, which is the first S is sort. All of you type sort in the chat box. Sorting means actually removing unnecessary things from the workplace. Okay, really sorting out what is needed and what is not needed. The second is set in order. All of you type SIO in the chat box. Set in order. Okay, set in order means whatever in the first yes, you have actually removed what is, you have sorted out what is necessary and unnecessary, and whatever is necessary you set in order. Okay, the third S is after you set in order, make sure that the place is neat and clean. Okay, if it is set in order in a neat and clean place, all of you type shine in the chat box, and then maintain 1S, 2S, and 3S. Because when you keep working, your unwanted things, it'll be like a kitchen, right? Your unwanted things will accumulate. So make sure that you continuously remove the unwanted items. You continuously ensure you have a discipline of keeping things in the place, and then you continuously keep it neat and clean. So sort, set in order, standardize the procedures for doing this thing, and sustain it. Okay, have the self-discipline. All right, so far if you found it super interesting, valuable, fantastic, awesome, please give me a motivation. Put it in the chat box. I'll be happy to acknowledge what you said. Okay, thank you very much. We will dive still deeper into this, okay? Good. Overview of 5S. Sort is clearing, set in order is organizing, shine is cleaning, standardize conformity, and then sustain is discipline. And this is what we had written in the chat box also. Now, first, what is 1S? What is sorting? Okay, very simple, right? I'll show a lot of pictures for you to understand instead of just. And these pictures generally are manufacturing. Later on, towards the end, we will talk about what is in service industry, what is in your office environment, what is inside your laptop, and all that stuff. Okay, sorting is nothing but necessary, unnecessary. Remove it, segregate it. Okay, remove the necessary from unnecessary. So sorting is also called in some places or segregation. Some people call it as segregation also. So we can categorize equipment, furniture, tools in the workplace under 4 categories based on the frequency of use. What is this 4 categories? All of you type NHQA in the chat box. NHQA. I'll go into the little bit of depth of this. Okay. That is, whenever you sort it out, sometimes in your workplace, if you see, items are needed. See, when you go to your workplace and see, let us go to your wardrobe. Okay, you see your wardrobe. It is needed, but not now. For example, it's a summer season, you don't need the winter clothes. Okay, it's needed, but not now. Sometimes you will find it's needed, but not here. Okay, in your wardrobe, they would have kept some other unwanted item there, which is not needed there. Okay. How many of you can relate to what I'm saying? Type ICR. I can relate in the chat box. Right? Okay. Now, sometimes what happens is needed, but not in so much quantity. We have excess of many things. Even in your wardrobe, you'll have some excess shirts, excess pants, excess kerchiefs, excess socks. How many of you can relate to this? Needed, but not in this quantity. And many things not needed at all in your workplace. I'm not saying if it is not needed at all, you should scrap it. So it is. So whenever you do the segregation, remember this NHQA principle, which is not written in any books. This is my form of teaching 5S, okay? My form of communicating 1S. Type awesome in the chat box, okay? So not needed now, not needed here, not needed in this quantity, and not needed at all. And that's one framework in which you can question everything and communicate. So where do you keep all this if it is not needed here? Where do you keep it? It's not needed in this quantity. Where do you keep the excess? And if it is not needed at all, where do you keep it? You have to keep it in what is called RTA. All of you type RTA in the chat box. RTA. What is RTA? Red tag area. Okay. If you're not able to move it, you can tag it. If you're not able to move it, if it is very heavy, you can tag it with a red tag. Okay. There is an area which you can mark in red or red and white like this. You can write this as red tag area and move all the broken chairs, broken cushions, broken this thing, everything there. Move the unnecessary items, broken tools, obsolete jigs, fixtures, everything to this red tag area. Now, you can, like heavy items, you can put tags like this and keep it. And you will find this in red tag area. There are a lot of items which you moved out, and after you move out, like these are all actual pictures after I would have conducted more than 300 workshops on 5 years. Okay, and so these are all some real-time pictures that we have seen. There are a lot of tons of scrap that we have seen. All of you give a big smiley in the chat box. There are a lot of tons of scrap that you could dispose. You should have a red tag disposable plan. Okay, and in many companies which are probably 30 years old, when they do 5S for the first time, we have seen at least 5 tons, 10 tons of scrap that is moving out. We have segregated that into, MS mild steel type of waste, SS waste, stainless steel waste, aluminum waste, copper waste, and all that stuff. Any of you who can relate to this, type ICR in the chat box. If you're experienced, if you've done 5S, if you can relate to this, you can type ICR in the chat box. Pradyut Chaudhary, welcome. Nice to see you here. And there are a lot of pictures that I can show, which is before, after. Okay, like this is one of the before, after pictures after removing the unwanted items. And since I have conducted a lot of workshops, I can show tons of pictures before and after. These are all very, very old pictures, 20 years, 30 years back. Okay, where we found difficult to find out even color cameras. Okay, now benefits. By doing oneness, what are the benefits that you have? All of you type MMSAT in the chat box. Just for you to remember, okay? MMSAT and MMSAT is, I always do this, okay? When we conduct 5S workshops, okay, we conduct during the weekends and week of Saturday, Sunday will be off. So I tell them, make money on Saturday, okay? Make money on Saturday by selling all this scrap and stuff like that. Okay. Now, this is a quiz question. Okay, by doing 5S, you gain dash. Okay, just what is a word that starts with the M? Please put it in the chat box. By doing 5S, you earn. By selling scrap, what do you get? Money. Okay, second question is, so first is M is money. Okay, so money can be generated by selling or broken equipment. The second M, what is not required here will be useful there. What is the second M? Put it in the chat box. What is not required will be useful somewhere else. Material. Very good, Geeta Patil. Fantastic. Material. Okay. So material not used in one area can be put into area somewhere else. Okay. Okay. The third thing is, by removing a lot of unwanted items, you get this yes. What is that? Space. Fantastic. So by clearing unwanted items, there is availability of space. Okay. Sometimes you might find something which is of use to the company. What is that? Asset. Asset is a correct answer. Unused asset can be put into use, and by removing unwanted items, when you work there, you save a lot of time. So if you found this very interesting, valuable, fantastic, awesome, just put it in the chat box. And I will share with you practical way for 5 minutes. How many of you are ready to see a video? All of you type ready in the chat box. I'll show you a real-time video of different organizations where we have done 5S. And after this video, I'll be sharing the presentation and I'll be giving a link to access some of the videos and stuff like that if you stay till the end. Okay? Superb. Let me see whether the audio is clear. Okay, fine. If the audio is open, type okay in the chat box. Music.
5S for higher productivity and employee motivation. What's going on? What do you see? Does this look like a protest? Does it seem like they are shouting slogans to demand something? Well, this is actually quite the opposite. This is, in fact, a show of solidarity. It is a show of commitment towards workplace excellence through the concept of 5S. Curious? What sort of concept is 5S and how does it achieve so much change? Well, 5S is many things. It is a structured program geared towards systematic transformation of the workplace. It is a movement towards total organization, cleanliness and standardization. It is a transition from forcing change to inducing change. It is a way of life inside and outside the workplace. 5S represents a cultural revolution that heralds a departure from the orthodox system of working. It paves the way for a paradigm shift towards world-class excellence, quality and efficiency. The 5S system is a foundation of Kaizen, a Japanese philosophy that embraces change and improvement. It stands for the 5 steps that need to be taken to achieve these changes. What exactly does 5S mean? In Japanese, the 5 S's stand for Siri, sorting, Siton, systematic arrangement, Siso, spick and span, Shiketsu, standardization, and Shitsuke, self-discipline. These are the 5 S's that constitute the 5S philosophy. The first S is Siri, sorting. It is the beginning of a beautiful journey. It means sorting, distributing and clearing. This first step requires a delicate balance of patience and ruthlessness and a sense of perfect definition. There's no room for perhaps or maybe. It's either yes or no. For example, A simple first task is to separate things, the necessary from the unnecessary. The unnecessary has got to go. Why keep something if you don't need it? Pull it out and place it where it is needed. If it's not useful in one area, it may be useful elsewhere. Look at the quantities available as well. Why overstock? Keep only the required amount. And if something is not needed immediately, it can be simply stored elsewhere until it is needed again. All sorted items can be tagged with a red tag for classification. This sorting process is really just the beginning of a change in work culture that will soon make a difference to the entire organization. It is a process that involves everyone concerned, because the workplace is everyone's space. Sorting makes the workplace clutter-free. Resources are used better and more efficiently. For example, money. Funds that have been blocked or unutilized can now be recovered into corporate fund flow. Another example is time. Time is saved on locating things from a pile of unnecessary material when everything just has a place of its own. Thirdly, space. Once unnecessary material is cleared, space is made available for the things that are necessary. Next, assets. Unused assets get used again. They come out of hiding and can be deployed with minor or no repairs. And finally, material. A large amount of material is released during the sorting process. With a little imagination and inventiveness, they can be put to use differently. And at the end of the day, the sorting process creates a cleaner, neater, and more work-friendly environment. In fact, it is like a major cleanup operation. It sets the stage for the second step.
All right. So if you found it interesting, useful, valuable, fantastic, awesome, put it in the chat box. We will dive deeper into 5S from the next session.